This is the Danger Close podcast, Beyond the Books with me, Jack Carr. Welcome to the Danger Close podcast, an Ironclad original presented by SIG Sauer. My guest today is Andrew Arrabito. He is the owner and founder of Half Face Blades. They make amazing blades like this. You might remember them from certain chapters in the Terminal List right here and the other novels as well. And we did a collab not too long ago. So made these right here, the Hunter Skinners for Savage Sun. And this thing's just beautiful. Love this thing. So if you haven't checked him out, you can go to halffaceblades.com and you can go to Half Face Blades on Instagram as well. And he is Spec Operator on Instagram. So check those out and enjoy the podcast.
Let's start off a little bit. Can you just bring me through? Let's just talk knives.
Okay.
So let's start with that and then we'll see where it goes. But talk to me about your first knife. And what do you have right now? So people that are just kicking this off, Half Face Blades.
Yeah, Half Face Blades kind of started a little over 5 years ago. It kind of started, I was having some, I had gotten out of the military.
Did you make any while you were in the military?
No, I didn't. I did before when I was kind of young with my older brothers, just kind of crude instruments, crude tools out of old leaf springs, you know. And just always been an outdoorsman. So that's kind of the history of me being an end user. So being an outdoorsman, outdoor family, we're always camping, you know, fishing, backpacking, everything. And then I was doing survival trips to Montana and everything in high school and lived in Alaska a few different summers during high school and just always spent my times in the outdoors. And whether I'm running around with a hatchet or a knife or a pocket knife or a fixed blade, I always had one on me. You know? And then in the SEAL teams, you know, for 10 years, of course, used knives. You know, whether it's Leatherman, we always were carrying a fixed blade, usually a Leatherman or a multi-tool and a folder. So I used knives in that sense of, you know, in the combative way. And then I got out, I was working with another team gone in business, and then that was taking a lot of time, and I was doing a little bit of advising up in Hollywood on movie stuff. And one day I was like, man, it kind of just dawned on me, like thinking about being with my older brothers, grinding knives, and my buddies that are still active duty and, you know, wanting to go to war with them. And I was like, well, man, maybe I should just make some knives because I know what I want out of a knife in the end. I know how to use it. I know what it can do, you know, and I want to make it purpose driven. So I was like, well, I'll just design a few for my buddies that are still active. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I started.
Would you use as material? Did you use are you back to leaf springs now? Or are you
you know,
doing some research?
I actually did my research and I was like, okay, what are guys using for grinders now? You know, 2x72-inch belts. And I just really dove in. I went to some blade forums and all it was in blade forums was just discouraging stuff.
Oh, man.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's a bunch of dudes in their basements. Like, I don't know, that just like knives, but they're not purpose driven or something like that. Anyway, so I just, you know, exited out of blade forums and then go back to that and just did my research on grinders, new steels, you know, American steels, super steels, the metallurgy of that. And I just, you know, went with S35V in because I wanted good blade and edge retention.
Okay.
So
that's still what you use now?
Yeah, a lot of the steel. I use CPM3V and I'll do some Damascus here and there and everything. But use that S35 and started making those real kind of a simple design. I didn't want to get too complicated in the beginning, you know, I was learning. So
was it the Crow? Or
no,
was it
it was just a Series 1.
Okay.
You know, Series 1.
Collectors at them now for those that have them.
Well, the first 50 I numbered, and then I just did the 5-year anniversary. I did a 51 through 101 and numbered them. So those all got taken up as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. But the Crow Scout was the third design I did.
And I have many of those in the house. Yeah. So you made those early ones, gave them out to, or
yeah, well, you know,
50.
I was just taking pictures of my learning process, you know, and just did social media. And so I had buddies that were already like, yeah, of course I'll take one. And I had civilian friends like, oh, I want one too, you know what I mean? So I was like, oh, I'll just do 10. And then it's like 20. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to do 50. Nice. So I had just had like plastic fold-out table. And I was under the awning in my backyard. And it was like, I put brown paper, I put the knife down, write their name and what they wanted and go from there and finish the knife, set it back down, you know?
Dude.
And that's how it started. You know?
Awesome. And do you have pictures of that? I haven't seen you post pictures of the early days.
Not in a while. I have pictures.
I want to
back
see
in the
some of
day.
those. I love pictures like that, old school ones. Where you see guys just when they're first starting out in their garage with whatever it is.
Yeah.
But particularly, it seems like knife making lends itself to some pretty sweet pictures. Of you,
Yeah,
like,
and you know what? They're so
smashing
crude
away.
still, and like the grinds aren't even, and the handles, like I could have done them so much better, and we're so much farther along now. And so when I see people send pictures of their knife back in the day like that, and I'm like, hey, you know, I refurbish for free. Like, send it in. I'll refurbish it. You know, I'll make it look new. And they're like, no.
Yeah, people probably
I don't
want
want
it.
you to
Yeah,
touch it. I
exactly.
want that old grinds. And
Yeah,
it's pretty rad.
dude. And so when did you start switching over to make these things are works of art. For those of you that have not seen these things, go to halffaceblade.com.
Yeah.
Right. And then Instagram,
Half-Face Blades.
Half-Face Blades. Yeah. Beautiful photos. The photos are amazing. I remember I was asking you, dude, what kind of camera do you use? And you're like,
iPhone.
My iPhone.
And I just got the new iPhone, so I'm going to take a little better ones.
They're awesome. But so when did it turn? They're always, purpose driven. You can always use them outside. You can always take them in the backcountry. You can always take them into combat. But they're beautiful. So when did they turn? Were they always like that from the beginning? There was always that artistic side to it, where there was just this functional beauty to them, because they're different than anything else out there. Like, you can see, there's no like, oh, is that a half-face blade?
Right.
No,
Like,
you know that it's a half-face blade.
Yeah.
When did that come into the picture?
I didn't have anybody teach me, and I really like burrowwood and the beauty of it, and so from the first ones, I was like, I got some redwood burl, and I got some micarta G10, which so many knives are made of micarta G10. It's great material. It's strong material. It's not really expensive, but I really like that burrowwood and stuff like that, So I think that from the beginning I was trying to use some of those materials, and then I was like, one day off the top of my head, I was like, oh man, what if I could combine these materials, have to get all the perfect grinds. And then I was like, oh, look at this turquoise. Oh, I could combine that. And well, I could put copper here.
So awesome.
So really that progression, and it takes time. Like I said, we're 5 years in, and we're so much cleaner and everything than we were before. And now it's like we can get as intricate as someone wants or what we want to do, or we can just get as tactical, dark, and sinister as we want as well.
Yeah.
But it constantly changes and gets better, but at the end of the day, the design itself, I can make it really pretty, but the design itself lends itself to being able to be used, and being really purpose driven. And that really was the focus.
Right. Yeah. You always talk about that, but man, they're beautiful knives. And they're so awesome that I, of course, used one in my novels and in the Terminal List, which was the first novel. There's a very graphic scene, and there's a few graphic scenes in there. It's a little bit violent, but there's one where, of course, the Arrabito comes out and disembowels someone. And when I was a little worried about that scene, sending that to New York, because I didn't, just going off to Simon & Schuster, it's just going off to this publishing house in New York, and and they ended up loving it. But I went back there, and it's we're at this meeting, and it's kind of like a happy hour type meeting thing, and I see this one lady looking at me from across the room. And I know she wants to say something, and she's looking, and I'm like, oh man, she's like going to say something about how violent it is or whatever. And then she walks over, and we start talking, and she says, that one scene we have that knife that's all curved and you cut that guy's guts open. I'm like, yeah. She's like, I loved it. I was like, nice.
Wow.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
I was super fired up. That it's like one of the chapter that people talk about more than any other chapter.
I get a DM and it's your book, of course. And it's like, I just read that scene. That's so awesome.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
We just got we just got a DM maybe about 10 minutes ago.
Nice.
Yeah. It's like, I want one of those knives. Like,
sweet.
Awesome.
Well, they're going to have an opportunity because we're going to do something together here for, I think, in the springtime or something. But we'll do some cool design that connects itself back to the book. And I'll have a book, the blade, and then we'll put them up there, and all the profits will go to support Veteran Focus Foundation. So we'll do that here in the springtime. But all right, let's take it back even further. So I think I know a little bit about your background, but I never get to ask and dive in and get even more personal. But here, we can, because I've got you on the headset. So growing up, it was Northern California.
Yep.
Start first, right? And just always just driven to get outside, get outdoors. Or did your parents drive you? Did your brothers do that?
I was like home birth in a fifth-wheel trailer while they were building an extension onto the barn.
Dang.
Where I live, where my mother still rents, actually.
Yeah.
So up in Angwin, actually, in Northern California. Okay. There's Napa Valley, Napa County, Napa Valley. You go northern Napa Valley, you have St. Helena, Calistoga, the little towns. On the eastern slope of St. Helena, Calistoga, there's a little tiny town called Angwin.
Okay.
And that's kind of between St. Helena. You could drive up the hill, go through Angwin, go down through Pope Valley out towards Sacramento out there.
Okay.
Anyway, that's where I grew up, and I had an older sister, 2 older brothers.
And what brought your family up there? Were they there for a while?
You know, my grandfather, I would believe, there's a college there, Pacific Union College. My grandfather was a business manager there years ago, and my mom had went to college there, and then they had all moved away, and I think my grandpa and him had moved back. So I think they lived in Fort Bragg originally, up the coast.
Fort Bragg on the coast, yeah.
Right,
I used to dive for abalone up there.
Yeah, I dove up for abalone up there too. Very
good stuff.
Glass Beach and some pretty cool spots up there.
Yeah, Salt Point, I think, is one.
Yeah. I would when I got my scuba diving license, I was like, this will help me. When I was in high school, I was like, I'm going to be in the SEAL teams. This will help me. I went and got my scuba diving license.
I did the same thing, probably on the same beach.
It was so miserable. It's so cold.
Dude,
can't see anything.
Couldn't see
sharks.
anything. I was 9 years old. My dad lied because you had to be 12, I think. And so he was like an attorney. So he stretched the truth. I don't want to say for anyone listening. Yeah. But so we
stretched your age.
Quite a bit. And back then they didn't make kid
You probably
wetsuits.
had a beard that big when you were 9 though, too.
I don't. I had I was a little skinny little guy. So in that water, it freezing, and especially when you have no body fat on you as a 9-year-old, 4th grader, I think I was. And they didn't make wetsuits for kids back then. So I have these pictures of me with in this wetsuit, and the wetsuit's off my hands and it's off my feet, and I'm just on this beach looking totally miserable.
Those are Moray boogie wetsuits with the bright sleeves.
They were. This was just straight up blacks. This is 1983.
The first ones
like
coming
that.
out.
No, wait. No, 1982, 83.
That's when I was born.
So that's a little bit older. But I remember going out there off the beach, getting out there, freezing, and then all of a sudden letting the air out of that buoyancy thing go down, and just dark and murky. I can't see anything, frozen. It was awful. It was so awful.
I don't think it helped me. I don't think. I think it didn't help me.
I think just doing it, just anything where you push yourself past that into that comfort zone.
It wasn't the actual diving. It was
the
forcing myself, getting past that fear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Okay, I'm doing it.
Yeah. No, I think that was it. Yeah, definitely not the technical side of
Right.
it. It was the more pushing yourself into the unknown, pushing yourself into something that you're a little bit tentative about, and then not really. And people always say get comfortable being uncomfortable. Well, you're uncomfortable is uncomfortable.
Yeah, you're thinking about getting eaten by a shark every 2 seconds.
I know. Speaking of, I can't believe that people in buds out at San Clemente Island no one's been chomped.
No, and I saw a small one. I saw 2 decent sized sharks when they were 5 mile. No, they were cruising along the bottom. I think they were a 7 gill or something like that.
Every shark I see is going to be a great white. It's in my head, it's going to be a great white.
The worst is we were swimming along with your buddy, and all of a sudden he grabs your legs, and you can hear him yell underwater, and you just think he's got something coming in with their mouth open.
That's what you think the whole time.
It'll be like a fish this big. He just wants you to see it.
That made my swim times better, though. I think just thinking about that, But so then I did those dives in Northern California, got certified, and then we went to Hawaii and did it out there. A lot nicer.
Yeah.
Doing it out there.
Yeah.
That's
I dove in Fiji. That was fun.
Yeah.
Did a little bit of diving in Indonesia on one of my deployments. That was cool.
Oh, nice.
You can see them coming. You can see. I'm like, as long as I can see a shark coming, I can defend myself.
Yeah, you can just
possibly,
punch it in the nose. Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
Take my cram out.
That's it. That's it, man. But yeah, I think all that just being uncomfortable at such a young age, and then going to buds and getting in the pool for pool comp, where I think most people, other than Hell Week, I think that's where you lose a lot of people, I think. But just because they're not comfortable. So, and it's the hardest place to lose people, because you have somebody that is just a hard charger, has been crushing it all through buds. Everybody could like him, be a great leader. And then all of a sudden he gets in the water and he's just not comfortable. Yeah, just can't do it.
That's something that'll definitely make you freak out. Feel like you're drowning.
And I love that part. It's my favorite parts of buds.
It was relaxing.
Pool comp. And then what was the, not drown proofing, but life saving, because it's the only time you got to put your hands on an instructor. The rest of the time they're just yelling at you and doing all that stuff, and you just got to take it and do your push-ups and all that stuff. But this is the time you get to put your hands on them. And then
they dead weight. They try to pull you down.
Exactly.
Pool comp actually was, if you're comfortable in the water, that's the best break you get in buds. Between just getting your ass beat all the time. It's like, or go hit the surf. You're like, oh, finally, or you're going to have to do, elevators in the pool at 15-foot section up and down. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's easy. That's the most relaxing you're going to get.
Well, when I see the guys on the side of the pool that had failed once, failed twice. I think you get two, and then you get 4 chances, I think it was, and then you're rolled. Yeah. Or they can use an excuse just to get rid of you or whatever it is. But But you see people on their like last attempt and they're there and they're a solid dude and you're like, oh,
I know.
man.
I remember
Like
seeing
I
a few
can't
buddies.
imagine. You see that face, it's awful. And luckily I made it the first time through that one just because I was like, oh,
Yeah,
this is awesome.
same.
You
Yeah,
know,
it's the first time.
bounce me up and down. You're like spending all your energy. I'm just gonna chill. And then I'm gonna go through my procedures, get my air
Yeah.
back on, and I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah, no
So I
issues
love
there,
that.
man. But you know, when you talk about those first times, like you said, when you're younger, doing that dive and stuff, when you can accomplish those little battles, right? Like, okay, I'm not going to let this fear overcome me, and you're smaller, right? So it's harder. And you don't want to give in and be like, okay, I'm not going to do this. You know what I mean? But you accomplish those little things. I think that's how somebody becomes mentally strong in the future, right? When they're older and stuff, is just those little battles is saying, okay, I'm going to do this no matter the fear. I'm going to accomplish this. I'm going to learn this. I'm going to overcome this. It may be these little things in your life, right, that you're doing that too when you're younger. But all those things build, and then it becomes easier to say no to your fear and easier to say no to stopping, you know what I mean, and not accomplish something.
Yeah.
It becomes easier to say, no, I know I can do this. I've done this before.
Exactly.
Accomplished this before.
Imagine not testing yourself or not having been pushed either internally or by a coach, by a parent, whatever it is. All of a sudden you're 25 years old, you're 26 years old, and then you face some adversity.
Right.
That'd be tough. That'd be extremely difficult.
You wouldn't
not
know,
to push
you wouldn't
yourself.
know, you know, yourself. You'd be doubting yourself and what you can
Yeah.
accomplish because you haven't been tested like that, or you haven't had a history of overcoming.
Yep. Yeah, I think that helped. Pushing myself in the backcountry. We said like we as a family we backpack in the Sierras and that sort of thing as well. And then I did cross country as a kid because I was skinny and I was fast, and we were in the kind of the hills. And so running those mountains, running those hills, like that helped.
Single track
Even
is
though I'm
fun.
like, even though it's 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, like that stuff helped me when I was 21, 22, 23,
easily.
like in the SEAL teams and in buds.
Easily.
I thought back to those times, like running those hills and how hard that was. And same for guys that probably wrestled and did football and 2-a-days and all that sort of thing.
I'm glad I ran more than I wrestled or did. I didn't do football. I grew up skateboarding, dirt biking, and then I ran. You know, I wanted to be a SEAL since like 5th or 6th grade. My cousin got me a Navy SEAL workout book, and like, so when high school came around, like sophomore year, I was like, hey, I know what I want to do when I get out, and after school I'd run to work, I'd run home, I'd run over to my mom's office, I'd run. You know what I mean? I ran everywhere those last few years, everywhere just to push myself.
Yeah.
And man, I was so stoked to be the skinny guy in buds. You know, just less chafing. Like I didn't have, I had some shin splints, but I was up front of the pack. Like I felt bad for those big dudes.
I know the chafing stuff. I didn't have any chafing either, but the
He's
guys
got
that had the big
scars
weight,
and
the big
stuff.
like leg, big thighs, I guess, that are just, like the sands in there. They're getting crushed. Oh, that looks awful. And it's infected, and I never had that. I was just
still, I got buddies that still have scars all on their belt lines.
Oh, dude, that's rough. But same thing. Like I showed up at Buds, and you see those guys that are huge and just yoked, and now they must be even bigger and stronger because they're doing CrossFit. They're doing all these things that we didn't know about. Like you ran, I ran, and then I went to the gym and I lifted like 1980 style, Arnold Schwarzenegger style.
Well, that's how even when it was new in the team.
Same thing.
That's how the old guys.
Team 5, same thing. Yeah,
slap you in the face, like hit the gym, like stack more weight on it.
Yeah,
it was just bench press, deadlift, curl. It was like
for the girls.
Chest and arms day every 2 days.
Yeah, exactly. Back and by, try. Yeah, exactly.
There was no warming up,
Get in there, get after it, and then we're gonna go for a run. You're gonna run as far as you can, as fast as you can in the sand, and that's our workout. Like totally not a wise way to do
Monster
things.
mash on Fridays.
But guys were tough.
It's
But guys coming in now, they must be in such great shape. But still, attrition remains the same.
Yeah,
and,
that mental.
You
would think, right, if you're in that better shape, or at least my kind of mindset was, if my body is more prepared, is more healthy, it'll heal faster, right?
Nice.
And that's the big thing, right? In buds, you get run down, you get beat up. Those whose bodies don't heal as quick, it compounds their injuries, right? So if you're younger, awesome, you heal faster. If you're in really good, physical condition, your body can heal faster too, and that's one of the big things I think you would think would help someone's mental state, that their body isn't too beat up yet.
No, absolutely.
But like you said, it's still the same attrition.
Yeah,
guys are definitely more fit now.
Definitely way more fit because there's just so much more there's just knowledge base about it.
Right,
It's grown
information
so much.
is out there of how to be fit.
And then these guys also show up, and now I guess you could go online and just put in Hell Week schedule, and I'm guessing it's going to pop up.
I think there's a book.
I saw that. There was something.
I don't even
want to
say it because I'm worried about people. And you know what? It's called How to Beat Buds or something like that. I obviously, in my mind, I would say don't
it helps.
Do anything that don't cut corners. Like, you want to be the best operator, don't cut that mental corner. Don't try to find out how you can get through this physical, standard by, being subpar.
Yeah.
That's not going to help you in the end.
No, I don't even know if the knowledge is going to help you. So I read everything I possibly could, but this is
you still got to
80s,
hit
90s,
those
and there wasn't very much. There wasn't very much out there about it.
Right.
But if you go in today with all that knowledge and then you start Hell Week or something like that, and you're like thinking about Friday's schedule because you have looked at it and you've memorized it online. Yeah,
it's more to worry about.
Yeah, you're like, oh, geez, wait a second, they switch it a little bit or whatever. I don't know if it helps. I just don't.
I agree with
helps.
you that now you maybe know too much, and you're always worried, right? Instead of just being like, I'm here.
Yep.
Tell me what to do. Beat me. I'm not going to quit.
Yep. Which is pretty much the easiest thing you do in the teams, looking back, is show up at the right place at the right time with the right gear and don't quit. Like those 4 things. Like that's it. That's all you need to do in buds. And then when you get out of buds, you got more to do.
You got a schedule. They got the schedule. You just do
They're
what they
going to tell
say.
you. You're not making essentially any decisions.
It's the most structured environment ever.
Your decision. Your only decision is whether to quit or not. That's it. Right. And so if you just simply decide not to, and someone's going to tell you when to do push-ups. They're going to tell you when to run the hill course. They're going to tell you when to start to run.
Yeah, it can't be that hard.
Looking back, that's probably the easiest things I did in the teams.
It's fun too.
But then we get to the teams, and it's same for you. So what year did you go through?
03.
03. So you already came in. 9/11 happened. So where were you on 9/11? You in?
I was working. I was up in England. I was. I had actually my senior year in high school. I quit and moved to Montana. Lived in Montana.
You can quit high school?
Yeah, I mean,
I did that.
I did. I
did not know that was an option.
Well, I did 7th and 8th grade one year, so I was a year ahead of my class. So I was like, I don't know. I think I was just miserable my senior year. So I was like, man, screw this. We had some family friends in Montana. I went up and worked on a ranch.
No kidding.
And then came back down at the end of that. So the following year, I knocked out. I had like 3 classes I needed to do to get my diploma and then join. So I just knocked those out. I worked. I was an EMT.
Okay, so September 11th had happened.
Yeah,
you know where you're going, and does that?
I had my really close buddy joined. I grew up with. He joined a year before me, Derek Benson.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did he get to the teams?
Yeah. He was out. He died in Extortion 17.
Oh man.
Gold Squadron.
Got it.
But I grew up with him 1 year before me. I was like, oh man, I shouldn't have quit and moved to Montana. I got in a year before me.
Oh man, and then. And so you get back and you sign up and you go to boot camp.
Yeah.
And they don't have Buds Prep yet, right?
No. So they had scruff duty then, but I didn't do scruff duty. They would keep guys around for a little while, and I'm not sure exactly why. Because really, it was like I chose the shortest A schools, aviation ordnance.
That's what I should have done.
Pensacola.
I should have done that. I didn't know that it was.
It was a shorter one.
I
did
Intel.
8 weeks.
I did the longest.
Yeah, that's not good.
No.
Rigger school was the shortest. It was like 6 weeks. AO was 8 weeks or something like that.
Nice.
Like, hey, it was like boot camp.
I had no idea.
Boot camp, A school, and then everyone went out to the regular Navy. I got my orders to Buds.
So same with me, but I chose poorly. But
I
guess
guess
it was good. It was like you had to wait for the startup, and then once you finished, you had to wait for the Buds start to get there. So the full thing was 16 weeks plus the either side there. So it was a little while.
Yeah,
it was a while, but it was good. It was good. Intel, I'm like, oh, Intel, yeah, that's me. Check the box, and off we went and did that, and it actually ended up being a good foundation. For what I was going to do later. But yeah, worked out. Got to the teams, but same thing.
Hey, longer you could work out, I guess.
Yeah, that's all it was. It's just a little bit of time.
The thing is, you might
work out.
You're ready, and it's like I see guys, waiting around to go, and I've had a few buddies I've mentored, and it's like it's hard not to lose motivation when you have to wait to show up. I mean, once you get there, I think that motivation kicks in again because you need guys that have the same mindset. They want the same thing. They push each other. You drive each other. You know what I mean? You make those friends. You're all in that together.
Right.
Your motivation kicks up again. You know what I mean? But I've had buddies that maybe got rolled and they had to go back in 2 years. And it was like the hardest thing for them to keep that motivation to go back.
Yeah. And then you show up at Team 5.
Yeah.
And so for me, I got there and I thought I was going to get the pager. I thought the Golden Conics box would open and I thought we'd get the little buzz would go off and say, oh, you go save the world, save the princess, and then come back in time for beers, at the bar the next night. Not how it was pre-September 11th. It was there and they handed you that broom at Team 5 and you sweep that, take that garbage out, paint that wall, change that light bulb, like all this stuff. Right. I was like, what? When do I get to save the princess? When do we go off and do this thing? And that was not how it was. But after September 11th, that paradigm completely shifted, and then it really became what I thought I was going into. Building the
schedules to go to war.
It was crazy. Yeah, and we were all in it together back then. It seemed like.
What was that like?
It was awesome. I mean, it was awesome.
Were you at the team when the towers?
I was deployed in my second week of deployment with some guys that are actually here right now. And
that's got to be just so surreal. Like you're like, oh my god,
we're going. And when I say it was awesome, I don't mean that the attack was awesome. What I mean was that we were all in this thing together and a paradigm was shifting. And we recognize that, but not just the guys, the families, everybody, no matter if you were an E1 or an admiral or general, or whatever, it shifted for everyone on that day. And now guys are coming in, and you have, like, you came in a couple years after, 2 years, still not figured out yet.
Guys who don't really
still not
have a
figured
connection to. I watched it, you know what I mean? Like, you watched it, like, it hit the news, and I was watching before that second plane hit.
Yeah,
there's guys who it's so yesterday or old in their memory because they didn't see it. You know, that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's so impactful to me, and why I had such drive as well. You know, I wanted to be a SEAL anyway, and then that happened. I was like, now I don't really want to be a SEAL. I'm going to get to use that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to get to be an operator. I'm going to get to pull the trigger.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it was, to
it
this
was a
day, it's
crazy
impactful,
time.
you know, to me.
Oh yeah. And it's and for all our families to go through that at the same time, I think that's what I mean by it being a special time.
Right.
And I mean, the guys that come in now, like, it's been set up, so we're almost at 20 years, and these guys are coming in now. That paradigm is set, just like it was for me when I came in from essentially like end of Vietnam up until September 11th.
Yeah.
There was that model, and then now these guys are coming into one, and they're stepping in, and you have people that have been doing that for 20 years now, and we didn't have that. We all figured it out at the same time, and it was crazy to watch it all together on deployment. We thought we were going to get right after it. We thought it was going to be, all right, we're going. And we went. It took a couple days to figure things out, but we got on planes, thought we were going to Afghanistan. But I think it was almost in the air. We switched over, and we took over for Team 3 in doing the shipboardings, and they went in. We're some of the first guys in. But it was crazy. It was crazy, and then it was game on. Game on. If I had any thoughts about getting out, then as soon as that happened, I was like, nope, let's do this.
It's so weird that there was guys who were in the teams when that happened, and a couple years after that happened, there was such a need for private contracting. I remember guys getting out, and you would think, like, you know, guys were like, I'm going to get out in private contract. And I was like, dude, what are you doing, man?
Some guys were worried they weren't going to get to the fight. Like, some of them were like, I can get to the fight faster. Because we all thought we were going to miss it. That's the other thing. So when it happened, we really thought, oh, yes, we're on deployment. We're going to get after it.
Guys are probably trying to switch teams to go.
Yeah, everybody's trying to get in there because you don't want to miss it. Yeah. Here we are 20 years later.
Look at how good that mentality is, though. And then you have people that, like, would rather miss it. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? The whole reason why you join our military, especially during the time of war, is to go to war, is to support the cause. You don't have to be the guy out in the bushes pulling the trigger, but to get overseas and support what we're doing best, you know, protecting our freedom, protecting each other, protecting other countries. You know, I know of people, or I've met people who join to get that education, and they want to be a conscious objector, but they want the military to feed them. And you're like, what? To me, that's cowardice. Like,
I think I heard a rumor, I don't know if it's true, that a couple guys like left buds in the middle of buds, right? Like, after that happened. I mean, crazy.
Yeah, instructors.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was some guys that conscious objector to get out, and then they went and contracted. So
what?
They just wanted to get overseas.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so crazy. Well, they didn't miss it. And then, of course, 20 years later, a lot of those guys wish they had stayed in and done this
tried
route.
to come back in, you know.
Because the contracting thing kind of got a little iffy there for a while. I mean, you could get over there, but doing the job that you signed up to do and kicking these doors and breach and get in there and do the job like that, that's a select number of people get to knock that out of the park.
It was the greatest thing in the world. Like, finally flying out, you know, being a new guy, I turned 21 right before deployment. Getting in an airplane, it was so surreal, like almost like a video
5,
game.
Right?
Yeah, Team 5, you know, getting in an airplane, putting our gear on, getting in a C-17, flying out, you know, through Germany, another few more hours, and then, you know, going back and forth, dropping, you know, heat out the back in case, you know, getting shot at, and coming in, guys, we're putting our gear on. I was like, oh my God, this is like a video game.
Yeah.
I'm coming in, you know, landing at BIOP, taking Route Irish back over there, and like being new guys too, you know. We're in the back, and it's like you're puckered up tight. You're like hunkered down, your guns up.
Ready to fight off the plane.
You realize every mile there's Army dudes and up our vehicles on Route Irish, like keeping it clear. But you are ready, you know you're going to get shot at. And you're ready to get it. You're just porcupine, quills out. You know.
Oh, yeah.
You start learning to be able to relax. But, man, it's such – you go through so much, whether you decided when you were a young age, like I did, to join the teams and envision myself going to war. And then finally – under nods, in the back of a Humvee, or on a helicopter, loud, cruising, you know, and like guns up. Yeah, I mean, it's like the amount of time and effort and energy that you put in, your family put in, not quitting, learning as much as you can. You know, that's so long.
Yeah.
When you decided to join, and then finally on that bird or in country with a weapon in your hand. Man, the dedication.
Yeah.
That's the hard part, you know what I mean? Buds was this much of it.
Yeah.
Keeping your nose clean before you went to Buds. How many guys got in trouble right before Buds and had contracts got pulled? I got buddies that had
that's
that.
crazy.
You know?
Yeah, or right when they get to the team after going through all that, and then they get there and they're in their first couple of weeks and they do something silly. I know that's rough. That's rough. But I think the one thing that when I talk to people about it, and it kind of helped confirm that, hey, I wasn't crazy, is that most of us that did this, when they saw September 11th happen, had some sort of a feeling inside like, hey, I wish I could have been on one of those planes.
Yeah.
Like I could have been there. Maybe I could have done something.
so much.
You know, and that was what, and it's crazy. I don't really talk about that much, but you know,
I think about that.
Yeah. And I think all the people that come in to do the job that
I could have done something different.
Exactly. Like that's where you're meant to be.
Yeah. I still think I could have done something different. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't take anything away from people who did something, but if they didn't have, you know, if they didn't have guns in their hands, you could take them out.
Well, it's just like where you can make a difference, where you can use that mindset, that drive, that intellect, even to crush evil, and that's what that's what it's all about.
I like rather wake up, you know, and that first prayer at the beginning of the day is like, you know, if something bad is going to happen, let it happen around me, so I could do something about it. You know, versus around people who can't protect themselves, and it's like I'd rather something happen around me where I can, what my knowledge is, I can put that to good use to protect people.
That's it, brother. That's it. Crazy.
And sometimes it happens. You got that, you know, that
chills.
church shooting in Texas, and that guy was on it.
Right there. He was on it
I mean?
fast. Yeah, like 6 seconds or something like that. Yeah. Dude, amazing. Yeah.
And then you got places where people aren't doing anything. Someone's, you know, I don't know if it's active shooter or whatever. Got some, or how about when people take videos of someone getting their ass beat in the street and getting stomped and stabbed, and there's 4 people taking videos, and like, what? What have we lost in I don't know, human kindness, or where's that human nature to want to protect those around you? You know, and you may not even know the person, but I still want to protect them. I feel maybe that's a I don't know, man thing, an internal thing, even a woman thing. How women are protected. I don't want to take that away from them either, but it's like, well, so some people don't have it. I don't understand it.
It's interesting if that same thing, take that same situation pre-cell phone. What do people do then? They're standing and watching, or
hey, come here,
or maybe
watch this. You know what I mean?
Or are they doing something? Are they want to get help? Or are they intervening? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Everybody's so programmed to do this with their phone,
right? Because they can get some attention from the footage, or like,
I don't know. It's just like natural to like do that now. It's crazy. People have been programmed for that. We have
use the phone to hit
thousands of years of this of
instead of calling the police, they're filming it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of it's great. Yeah, it's reading times in which we live. That's for sure. It's
crazy.
But all right, so we got a lot to do here. We're at SHOT Show 2020. What is in the works? What is coming down the pike? I know you are expanding. You are moving into a new facility. You got some new machines. Yeah. And what's going on with all that?
So I just went from 1,900 to 4,300 square feet. Kind of took that step. In general, I grow. I take baby steps, you know, because I really want to know what I'm doing, and I want to be good at it. I want to, don't want to overstep and do something, you know, overstretch my money or whatever it is, you know what I mean, my knowledge. So taking this step, you know, it's been a long time coming. So I got a couple CNC mills, water jet, router table, new laser engraver, got the location, of course. So we've just been building that out. Tomorrow, Friday, we'll get some of the machinery done, and hopefully the CNCs will be chipping metal here pretty soon.
Dude,
and I
awesome.
You know, I do 90% of what we do is just all that custom work, you know, and occasionally if I want to do a run of like 200 of one of the knives, I'll outsource that to a bigger knife company here in America, help me out with that. So I just, I'm going to do it in-house. I want to support that in-house, you know, everything. And I want to learn folders. That's a big thing too. So,
well, I have your first folder. I have the, which one do I have? The Crow folder? Is that what's the folder?
There's the Crow and Disaster folder.
Okay. So, I think I have the Crow folder and I love it. It is awesome. And, you know, these days it mostly opens boxes for books that show up at the house these days. But no, love everything that
my buddy
going
did
on.
Is so my buddy last year when I was out hunting the end of the summer up at White River National Ranch or Forest, he did his whole elk with his folder. His folder. I was like, dude, that's so rad.
Dude, that's legit.
Epic. So
you just went to Lanai.
Yeah, that was.
We didn't even
amazing.
talk about that yet.
Yeah,
was it? Good time. Yeah. So you have an Eagle Beyond episode out there, and you went out there.
Amazing trip.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
And you got an axis, or multiple axis?
Yeah, I got 4.
Nice.
You know,
awesome.
Instead of shooting a big one, I just like, let's get the meat.
Yeah. And then did you go back into Nobu and work with the chef back there and see how they do any of that
Yeah,
stuff?
you know, he had come out. I had made some knives for the trip, so he came out and used my knives just to cut up, and he was just showing me all the different ways he's cutting up the meat and processing that, and he loves it. I ended up giving him that knife because he was like, dude, this is the best
awesome.
knife I've ever used.
Awesome. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a really good guy. And they do the, what do they do? Like, it almost looks like sushi, but it's,
carpaccio.
yeah, they do the carpaccio with the axis. It's so awesome.
It's so good.
Yep. So anybody gets a chance.
Yeah. That was a cool trip, man. I didn't think we'd be able to get it. You know, I was talking to Beyond and back and forth, and I had a few trips going on, some fishing trips, and I got invited to Texas, and then I was fishing in Alaska, and then I was going to go hunt somewhere else, and I was going to go hunt in Colorado, and I was like, here's my schedule, and it was like, wasn't looking like we were going to be able to do it, and then they hit me up like, hey, we'll just plan a hunting trip.
Nice.
Like, man, I would love to go. So
awesome.
It was rad. You know, we were, you know, went swimming in the ocean and went cliff jumping and went hunting, and you know,
I saw the jump. That was crazy.
I wish I had done some. Wish we had something higher to jump off of.
Yeah, it looked high enough. Believe me, it looked.
It was an amazing trip, man. They've been so good.
So cool. Yeah.
And then that episode.
And it's episode 4. Is that right? Episode 4.
Yeah.
Episode 4 coming out soon.
Eagle Beyond, right? That's
yeah.
what the series called.
That is sweet. Did they do any filming in San Diego? Did the knife stuff?
We did a little bit. Yeah, we did some filming in the shop. You know, did some grinding, just a little bit of everything, and then a little bit of filming at home. You know, prepping the gear, getting stuff going, man. I didn't want to come home.
Yeah,
stay out there.
Well, you can come out anytime.
Right.
It's it's my hunting operation with my other partners.
I may be getting out there this month and next with Mark Healy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
awesome.
And you know Nick.
Yeah, who's right here somewhere.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome. I need to get out there. I go out there probably once or twice a year.
Bob the Butcher.
Oh yeah, do you get to spend some time with Bob?
You can't not.
I mean, that is the highlight of most people's trip.
He is so wild.
Is spending some time with Bob the Butcher, in Lanai.
He's so wild.
I think Rogan did a whole podcast just about talking about Bob the Butcher.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, because he's been out there.
When
a few
I was
times
there, Rogan's skull was sitting out there.
I took a picture of it and sent it to him. But yeah, it's so rad. And Bob's is great. He does great work. He does amazing work.
It's so true. When I got the meat, when I finally got the meat at home, I was going through it. Packaged good, not a bit of fat on little bits of it. It's cut so clean. It's cleaned, like. It is absolutely
so professionally
packaged. There's no extra blood anywhere on it. And he was like, he wants, for the taste. Like, I'm not joking. It was so good. Like the rack of Axis was like rack of lamb.
Yeah.
It was
I love that. That's my favorite cut that he does. Yep. And it looks like a rack of lamb. You
right,
could tell people that's what it is.
That's how I
serve it like that.
I did it with rosemary. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I did it with like rosemary, garlic. Truffle salt, truffle oil, man, it was insane.
Yeah, that is the best way to do it, I think, and it looks great. The presentation is amazing. Yep. So I feel very fortunate very fortunate to be involved in it. That I was invited to be a part of that. So it's pretty sweet. But that's pretty much all we eat in our house.
I got 2 deep freezers. I have my elk. I have my elk from last year. Year before, I did an elk, a scimitar oryx, and an American buffalo. I bow hunted all 3.
I didn't see the buffalo pics. I gotta check those out.
Yeah, and then so I have that, and I'm going through it, So I think this next year, one of my friends, I think Kelsey, was like, "I want to come and hunt one too." So we have 2.
Yeah.
But also 2021, I'm trying to do a trip to Alaska. I want to do a moose.
Nice. That's right. I did my moose up there.
Oh man,
it was awesome. And there was so much meat. I gave a third of it to the guy, a third of it to the processor, and took a third home. And we're still going through it.
Wow,
it's awesome. Maybe we have some other stuff. We've been eating some other stuff as well, but that's an amazing trip. Definitely want to go back and do that. And
Alaska's incredible.
Buffalo would be sweet. I've always wanted to do one with like make my own bullet and do it with the sharps, old school.
Yeah.
That's the way I want to do.
That'd be wild.
Do one of those.
Might as well go farther back. Use old powder, like old powder gun.
Old school. Yeah, maybe just a bow.
Like you're a settler. Yeah, you know what? Just switch to bow.
Maybe I'll do that.
You chase it off a cliff, ride a horse.
So Daniel Winkler, he makes. He used to do these old, not just knives and stuff like that, but he had this old firearm when I was at his place, an old black powder rifle type of that, something like that, like something I want to kind of do it with the time period stuff. Like when I went to Mozambique and the Cape Buffalo hunt over there, I wanted to do it the same way you would have done it 100 years ago. Yeah. So side by side, it's
that challenge.
Rifle,
give yourself that challenge.
No optic.
Yeah, imagine. I was hunting. I hunted an elk. I don't know, maybe it was 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I first really kind of started hunting. Didn't really hunt growing up. I was a real outdoors family, but they were vegetarian. Crazy enough, you know what I mean? So didn't hunt. We did have a neighbor, Cleve, who had chickens. And
Cleve with his chickens?
Cleve with his chickens. Anytime, foxes and coyotes, even a bear and raccoons would try to get his chickens. So he'd trap them and shoot them and hit us up, be at 10 at night, like, hey, I'm 7. My older brothers are 13, 11, like, oh, I got another coyote in the trap. You guys want to come over and skin it?
Nice.
So we'd go pick
So
it
you
up,
go do that.
skin it. Yeah, I think my brothers were making like raccoon jerky, making me eat it,
Oh,
rubbing
really?
poison oak on me, making me drink poison oak berry tea.
Really?
To see,
It's
because they read some Native American,
right.
and then be rubbing
Become
poison
immune
oak
to
on
it,
me.
right?
Yeah,
You get a little bit back then?
They were huge into Native American culture, my older brother, so
And that's where you
I was the
kinda
guinea pig.
got into it through them.
Yeah. We'd be out, mushroom hunting and getting
That seems
test
dangerous
dummy.
to me.
Yeah, I mean, that was the test dummy, though,
Oh.
Eating oleander leaves, man. These guys.
Oh, that's rough. So I got to write down Klebe because I think it's a great name to use in a book
It is
for a character.
he's that character.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
he is the guy that's the name
He's
says
an
it all.
old dude. He loved his chickens. Like,
Dude, I love that.
he killed a bear,
Northern California.
Yeah, I was eating his chickens, man.
Don't mess with Klebe's chickens.
No.
I gotta write all that down. That's got to be in a book.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. And speaking of books, so I cannot wait to give you. And I should have sent you one chapter from the third novel just to make sure I got the knife making stuff right. I'm a little worried that I might have messed it up, but we'll see. We'll see.
You probably got it right.
I might. We'll see. I did my research, but I should have had someone that knows what they're doing double check it. But there's a character in there that I'm very excited for you to meet, and this character will be a character in future novels as well. But
Cool.
So I'm very excited for you to see
I'm
that.
stoked,
You might
man.
you might recognize him. Might recognize his knife company. And I had to take a couple liberties. Had to move it from San Diego to Montana.
Even better. I wish I could.
So I had to put it up there because it works with the storyline. But I had to do that. And then it even gets better. I can't wait for the other part when I was talking to you about the Hunter Skinner and if I would knife I was going to incorporate in this book. And anyway, so it's a pretty cool scene.
You've been
with
busy,
Hunter
man.
Skinner.
I'm so stoked for you.
Thanks, brother.
I
I appreciate it.
Really.
I appreciate it. And are you still getting up to? So I had to throw this in for the character as well. That he works as a part-time fall guy in Los Angeles. Do you have anything like that on the books these days?
Yeah, so I've been, since mid-2000, I guess July 2017, I've been on Avatar 2 with Jim Cameron.
Nice. So how long does it take to film an Avatar movie?
Dude. I mean,
Years.
there's some days that it was some days we did 2 scenes during the whole day,
Hey, who's this guy? Look at Monty LeClaire walking by.
Monty. How are you, buddy? Good to see you, brother.
We'll have Monty on here too. Talk
Yeah.
about Centurion Arms.
Yeah,
See what he's got going.
He's a wizard.
That's right.
He's a wizard
Oh, yeah.
in his head, man. Great man. I was at Team 5 with him
Yep.
back in the day.
Solid
man.
dude.
Anyway, what were we talking about?
Fall guy. Avatar.
Oh, yeah. So I've been on, I came on doing some military advising. The stunt director and second unit director is a real good friend of mine. I've worked with him on Logan and Turtles and
Amazing.
there's something, doing a little bit of just, military advising. And then I was like, I want to do a little bit of stunts, And then when I started doing stunts, I realized I don't really like doing too heavy of stunts. You know what I mean? I'm like, some of those stunts are gnarly. And so,
Did you get thrown off the building in Benghazi or something?
yeah. So, well,
13 hours.
I was 13 hours in the Benghazi film. So I stunt doubled. I advised on that, and I stunt doubled the main actor, and then I played one of the Delta guys coming in. And what's wild is Ty was our class proctor.
Oh wow.
And he pinned me. I first tried it when I
way.
graduated. So,
Dude.
he was such a good dude. When we graduated, we did our class party, a pinning party, and he pinned me, and I tried it on my chest. So then,
Wow.
years later, who would have known I'd be advising on the film that he,
Amazing.
was killed, and then I stunt doubled the main actor that played him.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I was
Yeah.
like, if anybody gets to, do this, and if anybody gets to do this, like, what an honor for us is, and there's other team guys to be able to work on the film and try to represent as best we could,
Amazing.
Anyway, yeah, so that, and then the stunt director, second unit guy, good buddy of mine. I don't actively look for that work up there. I like
call
doing
you?
my own thing, and so he hit me up. He's like, hey, working on starting Avatar 2. I know I've been in touch with Jim Cameron a little bit here and there back in the day, so I went up there, and Jim's like, hey, what's up? You want to stick around and advise? And I was like, well, I'm not going to say no to Jim.
Yeah.
So I've been working with him on that, and then doing some stunts, and then he said, well, since you're here, I'm going to make you play a role. So I'm a bad guy. I'm a 10-foot tall Andy Arrabito looking bad guy in the movie too.
That is
I don't know.
awesome. When did something like that come out?
Avatar, 3 is being filmed a little
Yeah.
bit. 2, is being worked on right now. They're overseas, New Zealand filming.
wow.
And then hopefully it'll be done this year. It's already being worked on, edited, I'm sure. Like, they're editing once they're just filming, it's constant. So
Nice.
hopefully beginning of next year.
Awesome.
And then I think
Do you have any more work on that, or is that
we'll see. I might be heading overseas to like Fiji. We'll do some stuff. We'll see. That'd be nice.
nice? That is
But
awesome.
that'll come back. Do some reshoots. 3 will be work on. I'm sure there'll be more after that. Be worked on. So that's that guy's really amazing to work for.
Yeah.
His brother was a prior Marine,
Oh, wow.
Jim Cameron's brother.
Okay.
He was an O, and he really wants, some directors, you got to sit there and wait for them to ask. He's like, tell me what needs to be done to make it look better. How many people would be in this helicopter faster?
Nice.
What's the verbiage here? Would you do this? Would you wear this? How would you do this? So he wants to be that technical, you can only do so much in a film for advising, but it's been really amazing working on that. It's been fun.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome, brother. Well, let's wrap it up because we got a lot to do here at SHOT Show. And,
Cool.
dude, thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely.
Thank you for everything you've done for me and my family personally,
Man,
and
George.
for everything you've done for the nation. So,
Yep.
love you, brother. Thanks so
Love
much
you
for
too, Jack.
everything. All right.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to the Danger Close podcast, an Ironclad original presented by SIG Sauer. Check out what Andrew Arrabito has going on at halffaceblades.com. Follow along on Instagram at halffaceblades and also Spec Operator. You can go and order my next novel, In the Blood, right now, and I sincerely appreciate everyone who does that. It comes out May of 2022, but those pre-orders sure do help. So In the Blood, available for pre-order. You can also jump on officialjackcarr.com, sign up for the newsletter, check out the reading lists, check out the blog posts, see everything that I have going on there. Zip over to jackcarrusa.com for the merch and follow along on the social channels at jackcarrusa. Thank you so much for joining me. Until the next time, take care, stay safe, be strong, keep fighting.